And a very good cast in this. I mean, of course, yourself, plays the outlaw Johnny Black, like your shirt says. By the way, you can get merch as well.
Yeah, we made these shirts. This is part of like what got our money.
Jill Scott is in it.
Jill Scott's in it.
Glynn Turman.
Glynn Turman.
Sorry, Glynn Turman.
That's okay.
Sorry, Glynn. My bad.
No, it's good.
I met you at the screening at
if
Michael's
you
house.
don't know who Glynn Turman is, shame on you.
My bad.
Yeah, but no. I mean, people can mess up the names, but Glynn Turman, I mean,
Tommy Davidson.
Yeah, Cooley High, JD's Revenge. People. I mean, it goes too long.
Yeah,
it's
He's also married to Aretha Franklin.
Was married to Aretha Franklin.
Rest in peace.
Yeah.
Okay, Tommy Davidson, who I've interviewed before.
Tommy.
Who's a wild man.
Yes, absolutely.
Russell Peters, who is a Asian Indian playing an American Indian.
Oh yeah.
The comedy was not missed when I saw that. When I saw him on the screen, I said, "Oh, this dude's playing an American Indian." Okay,
right? Yeah,
a Native
for the first
American,
time,
I guess is the right term. But,
an Indian playing the Native American.
But the funny part is, I remember seeing him do stand up like at some little club in Brooklyn back in the day, and that's what he would say. He'd be like, "Red dot, not two feathers. Red
Right.
dot, not two feathers."
Right.
Like,
you know what's crazy? I knew Russell before he was doing stand up. It's crazy as hell. I was doing a movie in Toronto years ago, and he was hanging with a friend of mine. We all, when on my days off, I was hanging with my boy Drew and this other dude, right? We'd always be, rolling around in the places and stuff. And then cut to years later, I'm at this comedy club. A friend of mine, Benny, I'm sure you met him, he turned me on to this comedian, Russell Peters. And I'm listening to his tapes or whatever, and I'm watching him and all that kind of stuff, and I become a fan of his. And I go to the Comedy Store here in LA, and after, actually Russell's DJing at the comedy thing, and I go up to him and I say, "Hey man, I'm a big fan." He's like, "Mike." I'm like, "Mike?" He's like, "Man, I've been looking for you." And then he lets me know, "Dude, I was the other dude with Drew." So we was traipsing around.
Full circle.
I didn't put it together.
Full circle.
Yeah,
Yep.
So that it kind of came out like that. I was like, yeah, I thought the dude looked a little familiar, but I thought I was tripping.
Michael Collier.
Michael Collier. Yeah.
Collier, who
Yep.
I've interviewed as well. Randy Couture from the MMA world.
Yep. The captain.
Brought him in.
That's a real Captain America right there.
Kim Whitley.
Kim Whitley, my cousin.
Your cousin.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Who am I forgetting? Because it's a big cast.
Oh man, it's a whole lot of folks. I don't want to tell everybody who pops up, but you know who was going to pop up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Samuel L. Jackson.
Samuel L. Jackson was on his way.
Can we say what he was going to do? Can we say, come on, I mean, this point's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. You told me about this like a year ago. But it didn't happen.
Yeah,
and the final cut is now out, now finished.
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay, so tell me on the record the role that Samuel Jackson agreed to do in this film.
Yeah, well, Samuel Jackson agreed to kind of reprise one of his characters.
Right.
It was going to be this little funny thing that he was down to do. But, he just had back surgery. And he wasn't feeling well. And I was like, nah, man, I can't ask you to do that. But we talked about shooting it later if our schedules matched up, but they ended up not matching up. But the thing was, and I'll let you know right now, exclusively. So my character, I'm riding and I'm eluding this posse. I duck between these trees, the posse goes by me, and I'm watching them disappear off in the distance. And I'm like, and I start riding back the other way. But as I'm riding, they're riding off in the distance. Here comes Sam Jackson in the same look from Django.
Yeah.
Comes out, stops him and goes, "There he is right there." So he tells on my ass.
Snitches on you.
As
the Django character.
As that Django character.
Right.
That hateful Django character snitches on me. And I'm like, oh, hell no. And then I ride off and they start chasing me again. But that's what Samuel L. Jackson was going to do for me.
And he agreed to do it.
He agreed to do it too.
Man, that would have been like the theater would have exploded.
Oh man,
if that actually happened.
It would have taken people by surprise. But it's but when it comes down to it, it's a movie, and there's a friendship there that and a respect. Because I mean, how I feel about Samuel L. Jackson.
Well, yeah,
I argue about
Well, I remember in our interview, when you stopped in for the Fred Williamson interview, I think Fred made a comment that like Samuel Jackson movies don't make that much money.
I'm glad you zeroed in on his face and didn't show my face. I'm glad.
Right, because after the interview, me and you were hanging out, and we actually looked up the living actors who have made the most money with their films. Not personally, but whose films made the most money.
To the biggest
and Samuel Jackson was number one.
He's number one in the history of film. And so, I mean, when Fred said that, I was just like, I was like, I couldn't even, I was like, okay, just control your face. This is a man I respect over here. He could be wrong, but I was like, oh no. Because I mean, Samuel Jackson to me is number one in a lot of levels.